Today, Great.com talks with Dean Crow, who is the founder and CEO of Rally Foundation. If you haven't heard of them, they are a non-profit organisation on a mission to raise awareness and funds for childhood cancer research. If you are new here, please press subscribe on YouTube or in your podcast app, because today we learn the importance of supporting children with cancer. Hello, Dean, and welcome to our podcast.
Hi, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for being here, and I really look forward to going into this conversation with you because it's such an important conversation. So, yeah, I really can't wait to learn about what you guys do. So, to start with, Dean, for me and anybody new here, what is Rally Foundation and what do you do?
So Rally Foundation for Childhood Cancer Research is an organization that empowers volunteers across the country to raise awareness and funds for childhood cancer research so that there are better treatments with fewer long-term side effects. And then ultimately, we want a cure.
Wow,
so that's what we do. Yeah, we do it through, different events, different programs, advocacy, all kinds of ways that we make this happen.
Wow, that's incredible. And you said about the sort of not long-term effects. So could you go into that a little bit? What you mean by that?
Yeah, so children, when they're treated, 2/3 of the kids who are treated for cancer have long-term or late effects. And of those, some of them are very severe, like secondary cancers, all the way to, you could have learning disabilities, you could have infertility issues, you can have, just different like stress, like post-traumatic stress syndrome from your treatment. You could have hearing loss, you could have heart conditions. So that is because the children's bodies are so young when all this therapy is going in. We want to find safer, less toxic treatments for the kids. So that's one of our mission and part of what we want to do for these children fighting cancer.
Wow, yes, again, it sounds like that's so important. So Dean, why would you say, for your point of view and your organization, why would you say what you do is so important?
Well, childhood cancer is the #1 disease killer of kids in America. So, close your eyes if you're not driving, but close your eyes. And I want you to picture a classroom of kids laughing and playing. And now picture the classroom next door of kids laughing and playing. Okay, open your eyes. And that's about 46 kids. And so today in America, 46 families are going to hear the news. Your baby has cancer. Your child has cancer. And all 46 families are going to have the exact same question for the doctor. What are you going to do to make my baby better? And Rally exists so the doctors will have amazing answers and great hope for these families that are embarking on this horrible childhood cancer journey. So that is why Rally exists. We exist so that there will be hope for these children that are diagnosed with cancer and for the families, and that there won't be the late effects that are going to happen, currently with some of the treatments. So that is what's so important to us.
Yeah, I mean, that's so hard to hear, especially when you say, Dean, about closing your eyes and just imagining a smiling, happy bunch of school children. And you said do it again. So you got lots of classes of children. And then that's as many people who would be told that their children or them as young children will be diagnosed with cancer. So, I mean,
every day.
Yeah, it's so hard to hear that because, please go ahead.
It's right. In every family that gets that diagnosis, it's devastating, of course. And then, they're thrust into this world of having to make these incredibly hard decisions, like what kind of treatment, or, how bad is it? What's the survival rate? And, you're signing all these documents and you're just having all this information just thrown at you. And, to navigate through that, I always tell families, when they're first diagnosed, it's just going to take you a couple of months to get your sea legs, and that's okay. And you're going to get them, but you are thrust into this whole new world that is really becomes your new normal, but it's so very, very difficult. So, we have our Rally Kit program where we will, walk alongside families and support them, provide some family support, some emergency financial relief for the families. And then we also will, hopefully provide some fun things for the kids to do and help go through the entire cancer journey with the focus, though, every family that we meet and talk to all say the same thing. We would give everything up for our child to be cured and for there not to be side effects.
Yeah, and again, like what you said there, Dean, it's like, it's obviously awful for the poor children, say really young children, that some of them don't actually know different. Like they've only just come into this world and then they've had this, say, cancer, and they have to, say, deal with that themselves, but also the families as well, the effects of, like I heard you mention, say, financial support, even sort of, I'm going to say down the mental health side of it as well, because I'm sure many families suffer from that as well.
Yes, I mean, without a doubt. So one thing that Rally is, super supportive of is something called palliative care or supportive care. And I think it's one of the most misunderstood medical terms. I always do. I've been in some meetings in Washington about palliative care. I'm like, we need to change the name. But palliative care is really important. And if you're at a hospital that offers palliative care, I would encourage every family to, talk to the palliative care doctor, because they look at the whole situation. They look at the whole family. They look at what are the goals of the family through treatment? What are the goals of the child? What are you dealing with? And they can help coordinate with the different doctors that you're seeing and making sure that those goals are reached, help with pain management, help with quality of life issues. A lot of people will think if you're calling palliative care, you're one step from hospice, which is not true. So really from the psychosomatic point of view, they can really help. And so I would really encourage any family going through childhood cancer to really ask and seek out that palliative care doctor who's trained and does an extra fellowship, so extra school for that doctor to learn how to be a palliative care doctor. And it can be so impactful and so great for the family.
Yeah, and it's so nice to hear that, like, you guys are there for the support, because again, just say it doesn't affect the individual with the cancer, as I say, a child, but also the family, etc. too. So sort of leading on to the next question, it would be, since it's founded in 2005, what have been, say, some of your greatest struggles or challenges, and how did you overcome them?
Well, I think one of the things is that people don't realize that kids that get cancer get different types of cancers than adults. So when adults are diagnosed, generally it's breast, lung, colon, and prostate cancer. When kids are diagnosed, they get brain tumors. They get a different kind of leukemia than adults get. They get solid tumors, and those all need to be treated differently than you would treat adults' cancer. So the funding, the big money, if you will, is in finding, treatments for the adult cancers. Yet the childhood cancers are not profitable. So trying to really get people to understand the drug companies really were not at the time focused on developing childhood cancer drugs, but our kids needed drugs. So it's been very exciting since, having founded Rally in 2005 to today, to see the advancements that we have made within the government through advocacy programs. So it's very exciting to see what's happening there, and that more drugs and cures are being tested and being available to our kids through things like the RACE Act, through the Creating Hope Act, through getting money from other places within the large government structures. So that has been great to see, but it was a huge challenge in the beginning. It's still a challenge, and we of course want the government to do more and to help us more. And they are, it's seemingly more willing to help. But that's because, Ryan, of great podcasts like yours that get the word out there that here's this problem and here's what you can do to help. So at Rally, we kind of see ourselves as philanthropic seed investors in the next great discovery. So since our founding, we've given away $22 million funding childhood cancer research at, kind of the starting out idea. And then that idea, as it develops, Rally will continue to fund it. We have a medical advisory board that does a dual peer review on each application. So you have to score really well to get a grant from Rally. And we got 2 doctors looking at it, and there's no conflicts. All the conflicts are thrown out. And we will continue funding that as long as it's making progress. And then what happens is the research develops up enough that then you need that big government funding to continue the research, where you're going to be moving into your clinical trials and you're going to be, advancing the research. So it's been very exciting. And, to see that develop and to see that happening, and much more going on within childhood cancer than was when we were founded. So, but I still do think people don't understand that it is the number 1 disease killer of kids. They don't understand the late effects that these kids go through. They don't understand how important the drug development is for the kids, that there are drugs for the kids for their disease. But, seeing the genome, when we started at Rally, that really wasn't even decoded yet. And now we're really decoding the genome. So we now have, used to be, if you had a drug, the drug would be labeled for, say, breast cancer, but it would go after a target, let's say a biomarker 1, 2, 3, 4. But because that drug was labeled strictly for breast cancer, that's all the doctors could treat it with. Well, as we've decoded the genome, it may turn out that a childhood cancer, neuroblastoma, which most people have never heard of, also has biomarker 1, 2, 3. But because the breast cancer drug only says breast cancer, there was an FDA law that said you can only give this to breast cancer, because we used to fight the disease. Now we're fighting targets because we've, learned what's going on and within the body. So now there's a new law on the books that says if a childhood cancer shares the same target as an adult drug, it can and must be tested for children, which is huge. And now we're, able to test more drugs for our kids and give them hope, because, some of these childhood cancers, Ryan, they have 0 survival rate or 20%. ALL, which is a leukemia, the most common leukemia that children get, it has, a high 80, low 90% cure rate, which is awesome. And we all love that. And we want all the childhood cancers to have that. But there are diseases out there that don't have that children get. But now there's drugs that we're going to be able to test and be able to get them to our kids sooner because of what's happening within the field of advocacy. And, without your great listener's voice, without great podcasts like this, we can't get the word out. And so we really just thank you for having, childhood cancer as part of what you're doing and helping to spread the word. And we need more people, who are willing to be advocates, just to sign the petitions, to call their Congress members, to get involved in childhood cancer legislation.
Yeah, no, of course, Dean. And you said a lot about how you progressed through what you've gone through, and the different types of drugs used, say, on children as well, rather than just adults. So that's great news to hear. And I also noticed that you said, I think it is £22 million you've donated over the years. Is there, say, a figure on how many people that individuals that you've managed to help and support?
So that would be 2 different things. Our $22 million has been given to support research, which is our number 1 mission. So that goes to the hospitals and great. And we also fund research worldwide. So great. There's great research going on across the oceans, and we're very happy to be supporting that. I almost said across the pond. So we are very excited to be doing that. Now, as far as helping the families through the Rally Family Emergency Fund, we are, especially with the pandemic, we've helped more families than we have ever in the past. So we have a certain amount of money. And then when that money starts to run out, we go to our donors who are very generous and ask them if they will help to fund that. So I would say, we've helped thousands of families thousands of families. And we pay the vendor directly. I think that's really important. We don't give the money directly to the family. So we'll pay, we'll pay your mortgage directly to your mortgage company. And we pay your car payment directly to the person that has that car loan, the company that has that. We'll pay your utility bill directly to, the power company or whatnot, your cell phone bill, the same thing. So we're really have a lot of great checks and balances in place to make sure that those bills are, getting paid and they're getting paid on time. And we work very closely with the hospital social workers. So that is great. And so needed for these families, just to give them some sort of relief.
Yeah, definitely. And that's absolutely incredible to hear that, say, the families do have you guys there for the support. So
Yes.
just say sort of on that subject, what would you say then, Dean, are some of the greatest, say, needs of the individuals that you support, and how are you part of the solution?
It depends on the family, in all honesty. It depends on really what type of cancer their child has. Are they looking for, a second opinion or different options? So what, we are not doctors. We have, I always say I'm not a doctor. I've never played one on TV, and, I haven't stayed at a Holiday Inn Express, so you don't want to take medical advice from me. But we do have, an incredible medical advisory board, and, they're always willing to help and, to give their opinion. We're super close in America with the Children's Oncology Group, the COG, which is just a wonderful organization that runs the vast majority of the clinical trials here in America and really across the world. And so really just, sometimes the families just want to talk about what's going on and those options. Sometimes families just want to be what they would call normal and just talk about, current events or what's going on in the world. And then just really getting to know their child and the rest of their family is really sometimes what's most important to them, and for them to feel supported, in their journey. And feel supported after the journey. Rally, once you're part of Rally, you're part of us for life, and we will reach out and stay in touch. And then, probably the worst calls that we get, Ryan, are, the calls that a child has relapsed. And then, to the families, relapse is like so hard because they know what's coming, whereas the first time around, it just kind of comes and you deal with it. Whereas the second time around, what's going to be happening. So we have like a precious Rally kid that just relapsed with neuroblastoma, is right like today, losing her hair for the fourth time. She's now a senior in high school. It's just really tough. And then like, well, what are the treatment options? And, how can we make this journey, this part better for her and her whole family? And so sometimes it's just like letting the parents or the child as they get older, just kind of process through it. And, just to be another listening ear for them. So they know the financial support's there, they know that we're funding the research but, just really befriending them and letting them know that they're not alone and that we're here for them.
Yeah, that's so nice to hear, because I like what you say there, Dean, about like you guys are there for the ongoing support, like the aftercare as well, and the say the individuals that you do support, they know that they've got you there not just through, say, the potential treatment that they're going through, but also afterwards, once they do sort of come hopefully out onto the other side, or even if, like you say, if they end up relapsing, was that the correct word? Yeah, if that happens again, they know that there's an organization like you guys there for the support. Because also I picked up on, you said the word just a listening ear, and I think many people sort of underestimate the power of just, say, someone to be there to listen to your struggles or needs, because the best of us need to, say, just release what we sort of built up inside. So it is so nice to hear that you guys are there for that support. So Dean, what would you say then your vision for the future is?
Well, my vision is a world with no childhood cancer. So that would be the best thing there. Just to piggyback on what we were just talking about, we're also there for the families that lose their child. I think a lot of times the childhood cancer community, it can be very tight, and you feel very loved, and you can really, and you feel understood. And then when you lose a child, and you think about it, Ryan, like all the time and effort is spent for, however long, poured into keeping that child alive, and then that child passes, then your world is just turned upside down. And what you've been pouring your heart and soul into for 24 hours a day, for however long, sometimes it's, 9 months, and then other times it's, 10 years. And this is your community, yet now you don't have a child that's part of that community. But we at Rally still embrace you, and you can still be a part of the Rally family, and you can join in and do things if you want to. And sometimes people don't want to do anything for a couple of years, and then they come back, or sometimes they want to do stuff right away, and sometimes they're involved the whole time. But I just think it's really important that we as a community take care of also those families that lose their children. It's not just through the relapses or the initial diagnosis. For Rally, it's the whole thing. So I just really wanted to say that they would know, we don't forget them, and we will never forget your child. And we at Rally will say your child's name, and we will share our memories about your child. And, that is really, really, really important.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant, because again, like, you guys are there for the support, but it's also, say, a community type thing that you got going on after as well, to say keep people involved, even if, say, a loved one was to pass.
Yes.
So Dean, then, so say if anybody's, say, listening today, what can somebody do to help, and what action steps can they take to be a part of the solution?
Well, we have lots of different things you can do to get involved at Rally. We have we do events, and if you wanted to do an event, we would love it. But you can go to our website at rallyfoundation.org, and then you can click on get involved, and there's a whole bunch of ways to get involved. And you might even have your own great idea. We love when people come to us with their own idea. So at Rally, we always say, if you have your own idea, we would love to see it happen. As long as it's legal, ethical, and moral, we're all in, and we want that to happen. We have the Rally Fit Challenge, which is the Rally Fit for the 46. So you could donate, kind of dedicate, if you will, your next 46 days of fitness in honor of those children diagnosed, of the 46 children diagnosed every day. And we ask you just to raise through peer-to-peer about $460, which is $1 for each one of those kids, and just do it through your friends. And we set you up a fundraising page. We have lots of other ways you can get involved. We also are, want to bring the childhood cancer community together. And so we have a word, Gold Strong, and a hashtag, and we would love for people to use that when they talk about childhood cancer, and do hashtag, and we're hashtag Gold Strong for all kids fighting cancer, and we're hashtag Gold Strong United Together Against Childhood Cancer. Because there's a lot of great organizations out there, and, really just, if you will get involved and help to, really we need to raise funds to support the families, but also to support the research. If you have an interest in advocacy at Rally, we advocate, we take on kind of the little arm of the Department of Defense has a medical research program. And I wrote a white paper and started advocating for us to receive money for cancers in children, adolescents, and young adults, because 86% of the active military fall within the AYH age range. And we have secured $29 million from the DoD for funding in cancers in children and adolescents. And then this year, the researchers can apply for up to $52 million for cancers in children, adolescents, and young adults. So if you're interested in doing advocacy work, we'd love to have you involved. And so the best way is to go to our website and, look around, and then just shoot us an email and sign up, and, we will plug you in. It will not be a problem.
Oh, that's incredible, Dean, and thank you so much. And for you listening, if you enjoyed this episode, please press subscribe on YouTube or in your podcast app. That will show the algorithms that this is an important conversation, so more people can learn the importance of raising funds and the awareness for childhood cancer.